Hey, my name's Kevin Cate, and you've probably seen a political commercial that I've made either on television or on social media. This YouTube channel and the subsequent videos, so please subscribe, are going to be about democratizing the ad making process, specifically in politics, but this applies to all different categories of commercials. I want to really show you behind the scenes how to design a commercial all the way through post-production and even go into media buying and how to actually get that ad either on television or some other paid medium, or just post it organically in the best way to get the most views and most engagement and the outcome that you want. I want to keep it a little informal, and you'll notice this is not teleprompted, so it's going to be a conversation. So if you want to subscribe and comment below with your questions about subsequent videos, please do so. I do want to start off just on the philosophy of advertisements in general with a book called The Responsive Chord by Tony Schwartz. He's famous for the Daisy ad, but he wrote a book in the 70s on how radio and TV manipulate you, who you vote for, what you buy, and how you think. And this happens not just on paid mediums now, obviously it's on social media even more so. And Tony's philosophy, which I subscribe to as well, is kind of summarized like this. He says, those of us who create commercials are in the business of structuring recall. When audience recall is effectively structured, the audience becomes an active part of the communications process. And what that means is you're not making a commercial to introduce some bold new vision and something that nobody's ever heard of or nobody's ever felt before. You're actually trying to recall some emotion, whether it's hope or fear, from the viewer. You're not trying to tell them something. He also kind of hits on that later in the book and says that commercials that attempt to tell the listener, or in our case, viewer, something, are inherently not as effective as those commercials that attach to something that is already inside a person. So we're actually trying to draw an emotion out of somebody that's already there. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel when we make a political commercial in 30 seconds most of the time. Sometimes you get a minute with clients that really love you. But again, I wanted to show you just on this first video, just three things, or just tell you three things that you need to get started to make any political commercial. And that is, number one, you need an idea or a message that you want to get across. And that, again, I want to go into the philosophy of that in subsequent YouTubes, but really focus on what message you're actually trying to get across. And I'm assuming some of you that are making commercials and watching me are not making presidential commercials. You're more on the county commission level or even congressional level. And a lot of times that's the most difficult place to break through. And so there's different philosophies about how to do that, something sensational, or in most cases, you want to just have something that's memorable, something that somebody can recall when they walk into a ballot booth and look at a ballot, or they get a ballot in the mail and fill it out. And so that's important, having a plan, having an idea, having a message. Number two, a way to capture it. So that can be everything from a cell phone, which I will show you how to do that in future videos. Again, subscribe, and all the way up to, we shoot with the Sony Venice, and I can show you the difference. And sometimes it's a lot, sometimes it's not. For instance, this is an FX3. I'm not even shooting this with our nicest camera, because that's not always what's most important. So a plan to capture that. And again, we'll go through in more detail in the future on that. And then number three, just a willingness to do it. When I first got started in 2010, it was frankly after having been on set, and my dad's in television, so I've kind of grown up in this business, but I was on set on a political commercial, and I wasn't super impressed with it. And I went over to the cinematographer and kind of just asked some basic questions, not anything out of the ordinary, like how do you go about doing this? How much does this cost? What lens are you doing? And he basically just looked at me and said, just buy the cheapest DSLR you can find and start making stuff. And this is how much we bill. This is how much I'm making. This is how much they're going to make on the media buy, which we'll talk about that at some point in the future. And it was like mind-boggling how one day of work and all the days that went into it, and obviously the media buying and the things that happen after it, how that actually happened. And So I just bought a cheap DSLR. It was actually a Canon 60D, and asked people if I could make a video for free. So having a willingness to actually go and do things is one of the most important things you can have in this business, because increasingly commercials and content in general, especially from politicians, you don't know what clip could potentially take off and change the entire course of your campaign, whether that's a positive, a negative, or somewhere in between. We're increasingly seeing content being the most important part of any campaign, because you're actually able to communicate directly to voters the idea or message or whatever you're trying to get people to recall. So I look forward to talking with you. Again, very informal. Subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I will try to do my best to democratize political ad making. And leave me your questions and I will get to them, I promise. So thanks so much for watching this first one.